Hello and welcome, fellow bookworms. Welcome to this week's episode of The Contented Narrative, where I'll be looking at When Angels Fear by Polly J. Mordant. Now, this was one of my book club books that we decided to have a go at. And essentially it's set with our main character, Emma. She's absolutely exhausted. She's running away from an abusive relationship, and she finds that she's saved up enough and she ends up in Flanmark. Which is sort of set along the end of a sort of like a pretty little British village, as it were. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, the little town hall, the church, like everybody knows everybody, the doctor's surgery, it's one person, and you know, everybody, as I said before, knows everybody. But when she gets there, and it starts off with like her escaping, and she gets to where she needs to be, and then when she gets there, there's like this weird sickness that's going around where, you know, a lot of the villagers are really tired. They're falling asleep a lot. You know, they're still able to function, like to eat and do all of that, but they're falling asleep. They're not very lethargic. They're not able to do their job, and it's got everybody baffled. They're not entirely sure what's going on. And a teenager has disappeared as well. And so she just kind of comes in with this going on. She kind of starts making friends and tries to open herself up a little bit. And then it just goes crazy, but not in a way that's like, oh my God, left, right and centre, but in a way that like, you've got the point of view of the boyfriend that she's escaped from. You've got the point of view of her. And as the events unfold, you start, you know, it starts looking at why did she come to Flanmark? Also, sorry, I'm saying Flanmark. It's not, it's Flammock. It's a double M, not an NM. Apologies there. Not that it's a real place, but yeah, so you're sort of trying to figure out like, why has she come here? Why has she, you know, why has she managed to afford this one particular little cottage? And the people around her start to give her the support, and she starts to feel like she's finally safe. And of course, you know what happens in books like this when you start feeling like you're finally safe. I will admit it did lose me a bit towards the middle, because as I was reading it, I was going, okay, I'm enjoying this. As it goes on, and then like something happens, and a couple of the characters announce their true motives, as it were. And when you read it, you'll know what I mean when I say their true motives. And you just kind of sat there going, huh, I can see where the title comes from then. And I do like how like all of the intricacies are kind of being pulled together, and it is a fun read, and you know, you get the ending that you want. There is a lot of destruction along the way. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sit there and go, oh, it's all hunky-dory. There's a lot of destruction along the way. A lot of people kind of get affected by what's going on, but overall it was a really good read, and I did enjoy it. And I love the tagline. It's like, the question is, will she be strong enough? And what I like is that they do have this kind of ulterior plot going along. And the only thing I will say is, I feel like one of the characters at the end, I feel like it did them dirty. When you kind of reach the end and you go, oh, so could it have been? Could it not have been? And the thing is, though, I can't say much more because I don't want to give away sort of like any big plot points. And I do think it is a case of like, you will enjoy this, and you will kind of feel how I feel when you're going, huh, okay, so if there wasn't this thing happening, would this have happened in the first place? You know, does she doubt her own sanity and her own reasoning and everything like that? So it was an enjoyable book. As I said, so I'll give it a 3 out of 5. Because as I said, it did lose me a little bit in the middle. A couple of the characters I was like, why did you make them this way? Why did you give them these motives? And I did feel like one of the characters towards the end, I was like, I feel like there was no need for you to put that in our heads, like that doubt in our heads. But overall, really enjoyed it. I liked Emma as the main character, because I do find like sometimes when you are writing, because obviously domestic violence is such a huge thing, and it does happen, both men and women. I do find that sometimes when you're writing it in books, you are kind of like, you some people are too scared to go that extra mile, but some people like infantilize it sometimes, and sometimes use it just as a plot point. And I do feel like at times it was dealt with delicately. But that's, I mean, overall, as I said, 3 out of 5. It's not a bad book. It's probably not one I would go back and reread, but it is one that I did enjoy while I was reading it. But of course, if you agree or disagree with anything, you know, that I've said, please leave it below in the comments. As I will be doing for all my new videos, I will also be including the link for the books in the description of this video as well. So if you want to give it a go, I tend to link up to Waterstones or Amazon, but you feel free to go and Google and find out if it's through World of Books or anything like that. That's not a problem. But thank you so much. Don't forget to click subscribe so when you're alerted when a new video comes out, and remember to always keep it contento.